You know those moments when life seems to have lost its color? An anguish that tightens the chest, a darkness that stubbornly won't go away. On those days, finding beauty or any spark of strength seems like an impossible task. But what if I told you that one of the most famous and beloved painters in the world, who lived immersed in his own emotional storms, can teach us just that? How to find light even when everything seems dark? Vincent van Gogh. Sunflowers that seem to burn with their intense yellows, starry nights swirling with pure emotion, self-portraits that look deep into our souls. We are enchanted by the beauty and intensity of his art. But Van Gogh's life was anything but easy. He bravely fought deep anguish, mental health crises, loneliness, lack of recognition in life, and yet his work bursts with colors, with life, in an almost desperate search for beauty. How did he manage? What does his unique journey reveal about finding strength and light in our own moments of darkness? One of Van Gogh's greatest sources of inspiration and perhaps relief was nature. He didn't just see trees, wheat fields, or a starry sky. He felt the pulse of life there. He wrote in his letters about nature's consoling power, looking at a wheat field swaying in the wind, at the vastness of a starry night, at the simplicity of a sunflower. It was like connecting to something greater, something eternal, which brought a breath of fresh air to his tormented soul. And what do we learn from this? Maybe when anguish hits, one of the paths is to seek this connection. Step outside a bit, feel the sun, observe a tree, look at the sky. Nature has a beauty and resilience that can remind us that even after the storm, life goes on. The colors return. It doesn't heal everything, but it can be a powerful balm. Van Gogh's colors, they are an explosion. Intense yellows, deep blues, vibrant reds. He didn't use colors just to copy reality. For him, colors were the very language of emotion. He painted what he felt, and his colors convey that energy, that passion, that internal struggle. Even in the melancholy of a room in Arles, there is a search for harmony. Even in the intensity of a self-portrait, there is immense dignity. And what do we learn? The importance of finding our own way of expression. It might not be painting. It could be writing, singing, dancing, cooking, talking, anything that helps us put out what we feel, to give color to our inner experience. Expressing anguish instead of just repressing it is already an act of strength and a way to find beauty in the process. Van Gogh lived to paint. Even without selling paintings in life, even facing skepticism and misunderstanding, he had a visceral need to create. Art was his companion, his confidant, and perhaps his greatest reason for being. In letters to his brother Theo, we see this almost feverish dedication, this quest to leave something for the world, to touch people's hearts through his canvases. And what do we learn? Having a purpose, something that moves us, that gives us a sense of meaning, even if it only makes sense to us, can be a powerful anchor in moments of anguish. That which makes us get out of bed, that gives us direction, can be our source of strength when other lights seem to go out. Van Gogh's story isn't about overcoming pain as if it never existed. On the contrary, the light in his work is so powerful precisely because it is born from darkness, or despite it. He didn't deny his anguish, but transformed it, using it as fuel to create a beauty that continues to deeply touch us today. His strength wasn't in the absence of suffering, but in his stubborn insistence on finding and creating beauty even amidst it. Van Gogh's life was brief and painful, but his legacy is immense. He shows us that it is indeed possible to find beauty and strength even when the soul is anguished. Maybe the great lesson is this: don't wait for the darkness to pass to seek the light. Look around, look within, find your way to express yourself, connect with what gives you purpose. Paint your life with the colors you have, even if some of them are shades of gray. What color or source of light do you seek when anguish tightens? Share with us here in the comments. If this reflection on Van Gogh's light in the darkness inspired you, leave your like. See you next time.